One of the things we uncovered in our podcast, John, is that you have an interest in deep sea creatures. Now, you were a producer on both the BBC Blue Planet series, but you also have an interest in deep sea creatures yourself, and I know you've been filming stuff. That's where you uncovered this dragonfish for your channel, Indoona, and it's proving to be a very popular clip. But I think people would like to know a bit more about this fantastical fish. What can you tell us about it?
So the dragonfish is an amazing group of deep-sea fishes. There's probably about 60-odd species. The particular one that I've got up on this YouTube channel is the long-fin dragonfish, sometimes called the Viperfish or Loosejaw. It's about 2 feet or 60 centimetres long, so not quite as big perhaps as you think. They're found all over the world, but this one comes from California, just off the southern Channel Islands. It comes from trawling the sea with a scientific trawler, down to about 600 metres or about 1,000 feet. They may be more common than we think, but you have to do quite long trawls, otherwise you don't catch anything. Maybe 6 hours or so.
Just describe it for me.
Well, so the dragonfish is mostly notable for its amazing head, which is full of the most gigantic teeth, which it can hardly shut its mouth to contain. And the teeth are curious, actually. They're little sort of prongs which look almost translucent, almost as if they were made of cartilage, but they're sharp enough. Got a giant head, which is very muscular, presumably driving the force for those teeth. It has a lure at the end of its mouth, which is probably a blue light on that lure. And if you look closely under its eyes, it's got a red patch, and that is really interesting. It's something unique to these fish. Most of the fish in the deep sea use what's called bioluminescence. They use light to communicate with each other and to lure other fish. And the thing is that most of those fish are using blue light, because blue light travels long distances underwater. These sneaky fish are using a blue lure, and very cleverly they're able to make red light. And that red light gives them a tremendous advantage, a kind of secret channel, because most of the fish, 95% of the fish, can't see red light down there. And they shine this red light on their prey. This is presumably, because nobody's ever seen it, which would give them a range somebody's calculated of about 1.5 meters. That's how far the red light would extend around them. And presumably also they can communicate between each other with the red light without other fish seeing them.
This sounds quite creepy. So in the distance, you see a little blue light. You're an unsuspecting prey. You think, that looks tasty. You go towards it. The red light comes on, which you can't see, but it's the dragonfish which is honing in on you and following your every movement as you swivel towards the blue lure. And then suddenly the mouth gapes open and those giant teeth slice through you.
Yes, I mean, the frequencies aren't quite the same, but it's as if you're a soldier with night vision and you are able to see your, in quotes, enemy, and they aren't able to see you.
Go on, speculate. Why do they need such long teeth?
I think those teeth are like a trap, like a bear trap or something like that, and that they probably leave their mouth open, and they're kind of hooks. So as a fish or whatever their prey might be, there's very, very large shrimp there as well, and they just leave their mouth open, and I think it snaps shut on whatever is unlucky enough to go too near that lure, and once it's shut, those teeth are like hooks and it'll never get out again.
Isn't it remarkable that we still have species in this day and age where you're able to see parts of its anatomy, but yet still haven't a clue about how the animal actually behaves in its own environment at great depths?
Well, this loosejaw fish, that's another name for them, or viperfish, dragonfish, that particular species that's in this video was only named in 1936. So, it's been known for about 80 years. And still, absolutely, we know very little about it. The trouble is that if you were to use a submarine to try and find it, it would be sensible and keep well away from anything that's noisy and got huge white light. And then the other problem, as you can see with this, is that if you bring it up, you can kill it. So, it's really difficult to film it naturally. I think the only way would be to do it with something completely silent and something that could see in the dark. But that's a really difficult ask in deep water, far out in the ocean. Even though it is sadly nearly dead, it is completely preserved, and you often see in laboratories, you see dragonfish which are kept in formaldehyde or alcohol, and they've lost all their colour, and you never see one in such good condition as this. You can hear more wildlife discussions between John and Fergus about deep-sea creatures and all kinds of other wildlife on the podcast The Wild About Us on iTunes, Spotify and Indoona.podbean.com. Thanks for listening.